When looking for a game to review this week, I was practically lost. I didn't know where to go after balloons, so I looked around my collection. I wanted something that I didn't mind playing through again, but something I was familiar enough with to voice my opinions on. And then it hit me. This game's pretty fun. Shadow of the Colossus is a game from 2005 developed for the PlayStation 2 by Team Ico. It was re-released in 2011 as part of an HD collection with Ico for the PlayStation 3, and released once again in 2018 as a full-blown remake for the PlayStation 4. The game starts off with the main character, Wander, riding his horse Agro while carrying a body. They arrive in the Forbidden Lands and proceed towards the Shrine of Worship. After arriving, Wander places the body down and it reveals a deceased young woman. Her name is Mono, and while we don't know the relationship between the two, it is very clear that Wander cares for her deeply. Then a voice booms down from the ceiling. It calls itself Dormin, and it wants to make a deal with Wander. He requests that Wander destroy all 16 idols in the room that they are in. If he can do that, he will bring Mono back to life. In order to do that, however, he must kill each of the colossi that the idols represent. Although Dormin warns that there is a very heavy price to pay, Wander claims that he doesn't care. After he accepts the deal, Wander and Agro set off to fight the first Colossus. The gameplay is very simplistic, usually consisting of stabbing, swapping your weapons, and grabbing onto objects. There's more to the whole control scheme and everything, but those three are going to be the most important on your quest. Now, I don't know how they changed the controls for the remake, but when using the original control scheme, I will say this. It is a bit clunky, and you might have to fight the controls sometimes. This is especially problematic when you are doing time attacks, as Wander will just refuse to move the way you want, and it could completely kill a run. The controls are only changeable on the PS4 remake, so keep that in mind. In this game, you are doing two things: fighting bosses and going to those bosses. Most of the travel will be done on Agro. She's not only pretty fast, but you can also do some neat little tricks on her. There are also little collectibles along the way, like fruits that increase your health, and lizards that increase your grip meter. Speaking of the grip meter, this thing is pretty important. It determines how long you get to stay holding on to the Colossus, or really anything in general. The meter increases after the death of every Colossus, so looking for these lizards to increase the meter isn't really necessary to beat the game. But let's get to the actual Colossi, shall we? Each Colossi is like a puzzle. Some easier than others, but they each have their own little gimmick in either climbing them or damaging them. They also come in various shapes and sizes. Some are humanoid, and some resemble various animals. The variety in Colossi make each one entertaining to fight, except Argus. To fight the Colossi, you have two weapons: the Ancient Sword and your bow. The Ancient Sword is useful for revealing a Colossi's weak point, and for dealing the majority of your damage. The bow is usually used for helping you get to the Colossus. It can make them fall off walls, drop out of the sky, straight up piss them off. You'll learn the importance of using these two weapons and how to use them effectively throughout your journey. The music in this game is amazing. Ko Otani did a really amazing job with this soundtrack. The music fits so well for every occasion. It could be mysterious, like the prologue theme. It could be sad, yet triumphant with the killing of every Colossus. And it could also be an uplifting fanfare to signify, yes, you are climbing on a giant hunk of moss. I don't know what the fuck that is. I would wholeheartedly recommend checking out the soundtrack, as it is truly something special and it will not disappoint. The visuals for this game are absolutely breathtaking. The lighting, the way the grass moves, hell, even Agro's animations are all great to look at. And yes, the PS4 remake is very beautiful, but the original is nothing to scoff at either. Now, it's obvious this is a PS2 game, but at the same time, this is a PS2 game. And it looks very pretty for being a PS2 game as well. But there is one thing that I must mention, and it is the frame rate. The original PS2 game really ran at 30 FPS, and it stayed around the low 20s most of the time, and certain fights could drop even lower than that. While I would consider this unplayable, I feel that this is personally better than what happened with the PS3 version. For the PS3 version, the game now runs at a consistent 30 FPS. This is great, as the game is very nice to play and enjoy with this frame rate. But it seems that the game, the original PS2 version at least, was designed around this low frame rate, because when Bluepoint had ported the game over to the PS3, they had accidentally created some issues that were not in the original. Well, what issues could have been created? It couldn't have been all that bad, surely, but oh, trust me, it is. On the PS3 version, Wander doesn't know how to stay in place. The smallest movement will make him flail all over the place. Now, this may seem completely normal, like these things are shaking around and you should not be able to hold on for as long as you are. But if you were to compare someone's time attack time on a PS2 for, let's say, Gaius to a PS3, the PS3 is going to be cutting it very close, as there is less time to actually get the stabbing and climbing done, and more just holding on for dear life, trying not to fall off. And like I said, this makes time attacks a complete nightmare. On the PS3 version, I did them all. Do I get a medal? Please. I'm still hurting on the inside. The PS4, however, is different. On the base PS4, I hate having to say that by the way, it runs at a constant 30 FPS, and none of the physics issues are here, as this game was redesigned around this frame rate due to being a remake and not a remaster. And on the PS4 Pro, the game runs at a constant buttery smooth 60 FPS in performance mode, or in a cinematic mode that runs at 30 FPS with a dynamic 4K resolution. In my opinion, Shadow of the Colossus is best enjoyed at 60 FPS, which I feel most games are, and I recommend playing in performance mode if you have the option. After Wander has defeated 15 of the Colossi, there stands only one left in his way. Heading towards this door activated by the light from his sword, Wander and Agro proceed inside. They come to a bridge and make the jump over. However, the bridge is unstable and it starts to collapse. Before Wander could do anything, Agro throws Wander to the other side and falls down into the chasm below. Wander, obviously shaken at the sacrifice of his only companion throughout this journey, climbs up to the final Colossus. This one, Malice, has seen Wander kill every single Colossi due to the pillars of light emitted from their corpses, and he is not happy. As soon as you're in range, he opens fire upon you, and if you're not fast enough, he will send you flying with every shot, and does have a little tendency to stun lock you. After avoiding his blast and eventually making it to the base of the Colossus, the climb begins. This Colossus is permanently stuck in place, so the only real action starts once you get up to around his torso, and after slowly getting all the way to the head, the attack begins. But this time, it's a little different. By now, you should be used to killing them. They are just obstacles in your path, after all. But Malice, he resembles a human the most. He even expects you and loses hostility shown by the color in his eyes. Once he is gone, so is your humanity. With every stab, he cries out in pain like the rest, but you can't stop. With every murder, you have taken more and more of Dormion's energy within you. You've come too far. Agro is gone, and your body has been slowly deteriorating. And in an instant, it's over. Back in the Shrine of Worship, the final idol collapses. A group of men have arrived and they seem to know exactly what Wander has done. After being teleported to the shrine for the final time, Wander is no longer human. The leader of the group, Lord Iman, orders for him to be killed. This, however, only causes Dormin to rise into his true form. After escaping with the ancient sword, Iman cast a spell to seal away Dormin once again. This time, however, you're going with him. You try to hold on, to not be banished as well, but your attempts are futile. In the end, Wander is sucked inside, his fate unknown. Iman and his men are seen leaving over the collapsing bridge. Looking back, he states, Back in the shrine, Mono awakens. Stepping off the altar, she is greeted by Agro, who somehow only has a broken leg. In the pool that Wander and Dormin were banished to, there lies a baby with horns. She takes the baby, climbs the steps, and reaches the secret garden. Filled with wildlife and what seems to be peace, their futures seem to lie here. Shadow of the Colossus isn't just a game. It is an experience. It tells a story without using words, minus the beginning and the end. It is up to you to decide whether or not Wander is doing the right thing. If 16 innocent lives are worth only one that you truly care about. This game does have flaws, every game does, and if I did have one major complaint, it would be that the game is too short. This game doesn't have much to do after completing the main game, which will take you around 6 hours at the most your first playthrough. Sure, there is climbing the shrine or doing the time attacks, but that is about it. I will say though that the time attacks are a great little challenge to be completed, as they really test your skills. Unless you're on the PS3 version, in which case they could become very infuriating. So, to end this review, I give Shadow of the Colossus an enjoyment rating of 10 out of 10, as this game is indeed something else. But, flaws in mind, length especially, I give this game a rating of 7 out of 10. The highest 7 out of 10, by the way, but a 7 out of 10. Shadow of the Colossus is a game everyone should experience at least once in their life. A Let's Play will never truly be the same as actually playing it, and hey, you really have no reason not to check it out. You can emulate it on the PC for free, track down a PS2 copy, or nab it on the PS3 for only $10. The PS4 version is new, so it is a bit pricey, around the $50 range, so if you want that version, there's that to consider. With all that said and done though, thank you for watching another episode of That Game Review Show. Click the shit on screen, and we'll see you next time.